Hello everybody, we're just going to do a quick little guide on the Carinas challenge, King of the Combo. And this is the one we use 3-star Aegon in Realm of Legends. And I'm just going to talk about several different things, just like how the fights go, masteries, resource, stuff like that, acquisition, all that kind of stuff. So we're going to do a little video on that. So over this weekend, I've been grinding out this particular one, and it's actually a lot of fun. And I was surprised how fun it was gonna be. Like, I thought this was wasn't gonna be as fun, especially because after doing the hashtag robots, I was kind of unsure whether or not I was gonna enjoy this. But yeah, as soon as you ramp up the combos, the more fun it indeed turns into. So where do I go first of all to grab a lot of resource? I choose 3.2.6. Sometimes there's revives on here, which allows you to pick up, you know, what I need in order to do it. Now, if you have a 3-star Aegon, great. If you don't have a 3-star Aegon, it causes a problem. Once you get access to these particular Carinas challenges, then, you know, look to going and opening up as many 3-star crystals as possible. Prem crystals, open them up, and as also Grandmaster crystals as you progress on. Also, when it comes to acquisition, I would say look to, as I always say, incursion crystals. You can get a ton of them. Yes, it's always a bit of a RNG. Everything's RNG with the game. But also look out for arenas. When arenas drop from time to time, some champions that are used within Carinas challenges do come up. And you know, one kind of good example is that, like recently, the Beast Arena came up, or the Doc Ock Arena came up. So always look to see some of the arenas that come on, some of the featured. Is it going to be one of the champions that you require for a Carinas challenge? And I'll mention it in the predictions, which I do in the MCN on a Wednesday, so look out for that show. On a second point to this is Masteries. Now, the biggest problem with kind of like doing any kind of like video, having an opinion, is there is always like a branch of other opinions, and there's always someone to remind you that, hey, no, do it like this, no, do it like this, no, do it like this. At the end of the day, set up a mastery how you feel is necessary. I personally set up a mastery around the champion, and I kept a similar one to I had with the hashtag robot Carinas challenge, because it meant that I was using a champion with Aegon who can shrug off those debuff effects. So essentially what he will do is shrug off liquid courage, so the poison debuff, and as well shrug off the bleed, which is the double edge. This will mean that you won't kind of take so much tick damage with or dot damage with the bleed and the poison, because boom, it's gone just as a snap of the finger. There are some other elements to like talk about as well, which will help you down the line, but essentially you want to pad the champion with as much forward end damage from having the precision, cruelty, and as well, because the champion gains a fury buff, extended fury to extend the time that those fury buffs are on as you get further down the champion with the combos, and extended fury. But also you could look to things like courage, because a lot of the time your champion will be a low health pool. It will be definitely below 50% most of the time, and let's face it, those level 1 revives will definitely kind of like only give you about 20% health. So you're always going to be playing around with lower health. And so what's best than having lower health? Increasing your damage. So courage is always a fun thing. Greater strength, I put this into here just based on the fact that, well, I increase the damage. It doesn't increase it like a massive amount, and it's definitely, again, one of these things that I'm sure people would debate as to the relevance of doing that one. But personally, deep wounds, unless and I didn't end up rotating around the SP2. I didn't really need it, so it's kind of like a questionable thing as to should I have had deep wounds on? Was it worth rotating around an SP2? I did it a couple of times, but to be honest, take it or leave it with that. And despair is an important one, especially to deal with the likes of Wolverine, which is debuffs applied to enemy reduces their healing regeneration effects by 15%. So debuffs, put a debuff on, reduces their healing and regeneration. Again, you have to play into that. Into proficiencies, normal proficiencies, stupefy, inflicted with a debuff lasts longer, and petrify, which is when the opponent is afflicted with a stun debuff, they also reduce enemy regeneration rate by 30%. Handy if you are throwing the SP3 and you put that stun debuff on the champion, so Aegon rotating around the SP3, and pacify. Now, when the opponent is afflicted with a stun debuff, they also reduce enemy ability accuracy by 30% for the duration of the stun ability. Accuracy, blah, 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 blah. Look, Again, a bit of an iffy one, Pacify, but I kind of felt that helped at times. But I think it's just, if Wolverine's going to regen, he's going to regen hard. So it's all about trying to find the best methods and trying out the best masteries and seeing what works to suppress that. And that's the mastery section covered. Let's now quickly talk about Aegon as a champion and why he's so important. As a lot of you know with Aegon, build combos and you're able to get lovely, lovely things. 65% of final combo meter into the persistent combo. So at the end of the fight, providing you've won it, or if you quit out, you'll get a percentage of the combos at the highest rate, which is 65%, and you're able to take that to the next fight or continue on with the fight. I'm going to talk about that in a minute, the idea of one thing that I would say that would have been better for me to do is to build combos up and then quit out of the fight. This was problematic, especially with, or that would have been a better thing to do, because of the problematic elements of the current input system not being too great. And the fact is, because it's not too great at the moment, there were times where inputs weren't put in, so I lose combos, so therefore I have to build it back up. And it took a little bit longer than I wanted to build up to the 999 combo, but it is what it is. In any case, as soon as you go further with like the combos, you get more beneficial things. Critical damage rate is increased at 10 hits. You purify debuff on 5 hits. There's so much more than that. As soon as you go further down, you've got true accuracy, critical hits ignoring opponent's physical resistance. Critical hits grant a fury buff at 300 hits, very, very important. And then finally, when you get to 1,000 hits, critical hits cause Aegon's hit to be unblockable. Very, very handy for aggression, which is very, very important against the likes of Wolverine. Now, there's going to be something that I'm sure, like, a lot of time you get criticism all the time and stuff like, oh no, you got to play it like this. No, you got to play it like this. At the end of the day, play champions how you kind of feel is best for whatever's going on. Whether or not you need to balance around dropped inputs, whether or not to be very cautious. And I'm a lot more cautious nowadays, especially in the last year with the current input system not being great, and especially with enemy AI not being, again, too great. So you have to always kind of like, I personally err on the side of caution, but again, that's down to a personal preference and that. And maybe I'll be a bit more kind of aggressive and more kind of like intercept happy in the future. But yeah, you do you at the end of the day of how you want to fight. And this is the point I'm getting to now, when attacked. A lot of players will opt for a method of charging a heavy attack and also like being attacked at the same time, because it will trigger a large amount of number one, combo shielding, so you won't lose your combo, but also you'll gain fury buffs that will be helping your damage just ramp up a lot more. Now, for me personally, I'm just not all about that kind of play, but I was all about the idea of getting to 99 hits in order to do stuff. Yeah, if I get hit and I smack through when I get hit, get hit with low fury buffs, hey, and then I'll smash in an SP3 right after that, of course, for a little bit of damage, also ramping up through that stun, which, as a lot you can see, on an SP3, it does mean that you'll grant a 100% chance for a stun for 1 second. The duration of the stun increases by 0.10 seconds for each hit in the combo meter up to 7 seconds. So the more combos, the more, stun. So that can be really beneficial. In any case, that's the champion gone over. Let's kind of like throw some video that I took on screen and talk a little bit more about the fights. The fights on this were absolutely fine, and I would say that the Storm fight is still a little bit annoying for me, just relearning that new special attack. And I'm sure down the line when I have to do this one final time, I'll kind of like ace it, and then I'll be like, oh great, I don't have to face this anymore. It would be good to kind of like face it more ongoing. So yeah, Storm and Black Panther have the new special attack and animations, which can be a little bit frustrating, but it is what it is. Apart from that, nothing else was really a problem. Just building the combos was the issue, and I would say that one thing that I would advise is maybe getting to Winter Soldier and think about your building of your combo meter. So like, I think I made a mistake. Like I think I used like one revive on Winter Soldier just for like it's either a mistake or an input issue. But in any case, like I should have I had about 300 hits on my combo meter. I should have paused the fight and quit out. That means that I would be able to kind of like get a solid amount of combos in the meter, and I'll be able to kind of like get to better ramp up of damage very, very, a lot frequently, a lot sooner than I'd like. Juggernaut fight is a little bit annoying as well, but it just takes a little bit of time. And as well, you can look to that method of kind of charging a heavy attack, being hit, and then looking to kind of like ramp up damage and stuff like that. It depends how you play the particular champion. Rhino was fine. Everything else was fine. But the Wolverine fight, I would say, watch out for a large amount of regen for this champion. How you tackle this is up to you. Whether or not you do that method of doing that charging of heavy attack, get him to hit in, and then it's a case of kind of ramping up the damage, throwing an SP2 now and again in order to kind of like ramp up bleed damage, in order to kind of like cushion the blow, get him to throw SP1s more frequently, and or play really aggressive. I kind of did a little bit of the two. I did have a moment when he was close to, I think it was like 0%, and then he ramped up to like 30% of like health. But, you know, it was fine to then play aggressive, throw that SP3. And as I said, I'm not 100% sure if my mastery played into suppressing the elements of the regeneration that the champion gets. But still, you know, it was actually a lot of fun. I actually really enjoyed this. And as well, the final kind of couple of fights were, again, just a big delight. Especially getting up to about, I think, Black Panther and having that 999 combo. So getting up to 1,000 hits on the combo meter meant that it was quite nice to kind of be able to play quite aggressively. And whilst I got the enemy against the wall, just slamming in a load of damage. So it is what it is. It was what it was. And it was a lot of fun. And I thoroughly enjoyed this. And I'm looking forward to getting on to the next one. Which, funnily enough, I'm going to be looking to change my masteries. I practiced a little bit last night on the extent of using suicide masteries, and I just didn't enjoy with some of the champions that I wanted to use in my team rotating around SP3s. It was more interesting to me to rotate around the likes of SP1s, SP2s, especially when you've got the likes of Hulk, and you've got She-Hulk, and you've got, I think it was, what was else I wanted to use? I think it was like, even though Magneto would work well enough with suicides, I just don't want to rotate around an SP3. I was like, I want to do like more SP2s. Scarlet Witch as well. Like I love OG Scarlet Witch, and I wanted to use that a lot more in it. So I need to kind of like do a video on that very, very soon, and we'll do a crystal opening soon as well. But yeah, thank you very much for watching this video. This has been a little guide on the Aegon Carinas challenge for King of Combos, and I will see you in the next video. Make sure to check out some other content located on screen right now, and I'll see you soon. Bye bye, everybody.